The Monsterverse movies are a set of movies made starting in 2014 with Godzilla by Universal, featuring mostly the Toho Godzilla cast and that monkey. Most of you are most likely familiar with these movies if you clicked on a video with Godzilla in it, as they're very popular films for, I think, just general audience and really everyone for Godzilla. And as someone who has a big soft spot for the Big G, I want to just talk about them. I think these are some of the most simple popcorn movies you can get. They're all really simple and are mostly just big things punching each other through other big things. But that's kind of why I like them. So I'm going to rank all 5 of them today and talk about them. And that's the whole video. Let's start. For me, last place is Godzilla 2014. And it's not because this is a bad movie. All things considered, I actually like Godzilla 2014. It's just easily the least memorable of these movies for me. And I think it's partially because it tried to be a serious movie. Something the Monsterverse kind of does best is just leaning into being campy and a little wacky. And there's, of course, nothing wrong with a more serious Godzilla film. I love a good, well-done Godzilla film. This just kind of teetered the line for me for being just like one of your average Godzilla reboots. Which, if you're deep into the Godzilla bag, you'll probably know the kind of movie I'm talking about, where they feel the need to do just a regular Godzilla film to start off every universe or every version of Godzilla, every era of Godzilla. And I feel like this was kind of just the Monsterverse equivalent of that, where we wanted to just do like a Godzilla introductory movie. And I definitely still like it, but it's not really what I think of when I think of the Monsterverse, and for that, it kind of falls to the bottom for me. Godzilla King of the Monsters kind of has just a lot going on for one movie. They definitely, I feel like, wanted to introduce a lot of the like mainstay Toho monsters in one film instead of doing them once at a time. You got Rodan in here, you got Mothra in here, you got Ghidorah in here, you got the big heavy hitters all at once. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I feel like if you're watching these films, there's a pretty good chance you either don't care about Rodan, which, disrespect to the GOAT, truly awful, but also you're just not really interested in, sitting through all of them. That, or these characters, you don't really need the reintroduction to all of them in such a serious manner. I think the way they went about introducing Dr. Serizawa and doing like a Dr. Serizawa plot in this is kind of cool. It's not as good as the original, and I honestly think bringing back Serizawa is never really gonna be the same unless you tell a kind of story that the original movie was telling. He doesn't really fit into Godzilla if you're going for a more campy Godzilla. And ultimately, King of the Monsters is very much a just let the kaijus beat the shit out of each other movie. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what it wants to be. That's what it is. And I just think if you focus on those elements of the story, there's definitely gonna be more, cool moments, which is what I think King of the Monsters definitely specializes in, is those cool moments when things are just happening that you look on screen. Again, it's a popcorn movie, right? You're watching it because it's something to put on for like a family night or whatever reason. If you just want to sit down and watch big monsters destroy shit, King of the Monsters is great for that. But it's not the best at it. I think all of the other films do it better than King of the Monsters did. And I think it's because they spent so much time introducing everyone, because they kind of dumped everyone in one movie. Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire is truly the best example of what this entire movie set is. It is complete, brainless, mindless fun. Does the plot matter? No. Anybody care about the evil monkey guy that much? No. Was it really cool when Godzilla and Kong teamed up to beat evil monkey guy? Yeah. And I think that kind of stands for what this entire movie set is. It isn't necessarily something that's like, it's not profound in any way. It's not out to tell you any kind of message. It's not out to really say much. It's just out to be cool. And there's nothing really wrong with that. That is fine. And this movie on its own is fine. It's perfectly fun. It's a great movie to just watch and laugh at. And laugh when things are funny. And sometimes laugh when things aren't meant to be funny, but they are kind of funny. And for that, I kind of like this movie. I think it kind of represents what the Monsterverse is. There's definitely much more serious takes on these characters, even that are coming out near alongside it. But none of them are going to have a crossover poster with Uma Musume, so I think this is the pinnacle of Godzilla, period. Except all of this shit, but we're going to talk about that another day, okay? I personally got Kong Skull Island at second, but I could wholeheartedly understand the argument for this also being number one. This movie, bar none, has the most, identity to it. It does feel the most and I don't know if this is gonna make sense, but I'm gonna put it out there anyway. It feels the most like a movie. The rest of these have this vibe to them that they're almost like Godzilla products to an extent. Like, that they're being made for the sense of two Godzilla characters, or, monster characters, pummeling each other. And, that's kind of the fun of it, right? But Kong Skull Island, it feels more like it was made because someone really wanted to make a Kong movie. And to my knowledge, the director of this has made, one other movie, and that's it. And that's, this is pretty much his, singular work. And I think it's just interesting. There's a lot about this film that I think is kind of cool. I like the setting. Fundamentally is... it's fundamentally more of a, Vietnam, almost war movie than it is a King Kong movie, which is kind of an interesting spin on the character. And they let Kong be pretty cool in this. There's a lot of good tension and good moments with Kong himself, and I really like it. Kong, I think, is the standout character in the Monsterverse more than Godzilla. I think Kong has been done such justice by these movies, and honestly, despite the fact this version of Kong really isn't all that old, when I think of Kong, I think of this version of Kong. For a character who's so old, the Kong Skull Island version of the character really is, to me, the main version of Kong. Which is kind of crazy, and I think it goes to show that this movie itself, despite being kind of a popcorn flick, kind of turn your brain off movie, does kind of have some staying power. It's memorable enough and sticks in people's minds enough that when people think of Kong, at least for me personally, this is the version of Kong they think about. And I think that should have some credit to it. I think this movie should have its credit for making a character who's already so old and so iconic, I think even more than they were. At number one, though, I'm gonna have to go with Godzilla vs. Kong. This was the movie that made me sit down to watch the Monsterverse films, and I do think it definitely holds up. It paid off for exactly what it was said to be. It was a Godzilla vs. Kong movie. I like the design they went for with Mechagodzilla. I think Mechagodzilla being the final antagonist that they team up to fight at the end is cool. And all the fight scenes in this movie are cool. And everything I've been saying through this video, I think it's also very much here. And I think this was, to a portion, what really solidified what the Monsterverse can be and what I think it's going to continue to be. Which is mostly hype moments and aura. Which isn't really a bad thing. I think that for what it is, right now we're getting a lot of different Godzilla projects, right? We're getting -1 and -0. But I think if I had to look at those are more of a serious take on Godzilla. And I like those because they're a more serious take. They're better movies. But I kind of like these in the same way that I really love the old Showa era Godzilla films. Like, Godzilla vs. Kong. Like, the first one, like King Kong vs. Godzilla. I believe the 64 movie. That one is fun because it's campy and silly. And I think these films, like the Monsterverse films, is kind of a closing thought on the movies as a whole. They take what was fun about those films, where they were literally just take two dudes in suits and have them just do some bullshit, and it was entertaining. It was fun. I thought it was really funny when Kong shoved a tree down Godzilla's throat. That kind of stuff is fun. It's funny. I like it. And I think that kind of presence, that kind of enjoyment that those Showa era films had, you see them in the Monsterverse films. And because of that, I really like these movies. Anyway, that's what I had to say on the Monsterverse films. Thank you all for watching and sitting through this. I'm going to play Godzilla burping again now.